this march is themed around the media bias and the coverage of what's happening in Gaza right now, the genocide in Gaza right now. But it's also about the murder of the journalists on the ground and everything that's being done to obstruct the truth, which is really quite simple. What we have here is a colonizing power enacting oppression in just another way on the people it's trying to ethnic cleanse from the land that is natively theirs. So that's what we're protesting today, and it's so important because what the media reports is so much more than just some words. They have so much power in making us complacent, power in making us accept that some humans are less deserving of life than others, that this is self-defense or necessary, and in obscuring the context that you need in order to understand what's happening in Gaza right now.
Western media is enabling genocide by the way they're framing the conflict in Palestine. This is a genocide, and we're not allowed to even say the word genocide. The Israeli media, the Israeli representatives can come out and say whatever they want, and they're left unchallenged. And as soon as somebody from the Palestinian side comes out and talks about what's going on, they're questioned, they're interrogated, they're put on trial, and it's absolutely outrageous what's going on. You know, there was a survey done a few decades ago, that people who saw the BBC coverage of the conflict in Palestine, they believed the Palestinians were occupying Israel. That is just shocking. So here we are today, fantastic turnout, and people are talking about how they are aware of the bias and it has to stop.
The problem with the British media is it's not giving us, it's omitting huge amounts of information about what's going on. It's refusing to describe what's happening as a genocide, and it clearly is, characterised that way. It's applying double standards compared even to the recent invasion of Ukraine, where it was clear that the BBC was quite prepared to take a stand on what it saw as war crimes and atrocities, and yet when Israel is doing far worse things in Gaza, it refuses to identify those things using the same kind of language. So it's burying the story. And it's also focusing on us as activists who are trying to highlight what's going on, to bring the message, to make the genocide visible. What you can see is the reluctance to report it. So, for instance, the mass graves in Khan Yunis and that are being discovered actually across Gaza as the Israeli army has withdrawn from certain areas. Is the media giving this any kind of centre stage? Or they took days and days even to mention it, and it was mentioned briefly and then disappeared. So you can't say it's not reported. I think that's important for the Western media, not to feel that they can be pointed out that they're just totally failing to report things. What they tend to do is just minimise it or shove it to the margins or report on it in the least way they can, or equivocate about it or deflect from it, so it becomes retaliation. Even though Israel can't retaliate against Palestinians, they've been occupying them for decades and decades.
Not in my name. No more, no more. Not in my name. Ceasefire now. Ceasefire.